Hello, Armand, and everybody else in the Zoom room. Let me just pull that up. I'm going to put a little intro on and allow people to come in. Got a little soul speak on the ascension that we all share. This unveiling, this apocalypse. You know, all this discussion of what is reality, conspiracy, heresy, truth that's stranger than fiction. Doesn't get any better than this. It's not just time to bring on the apocalypse, it's time to start riding it. It's not going to hurt us. Because one thing's for sure, in our conscious mind and even in our subconscious, if that's what you want to call it, we have always survived. And the reason for that is because we never die. So when it comes to ascension, what else is there to talk about? This ascension, unveiling, is not complicated. It's just a microcosm of the state of our being from any point, from this present moment to any point in our past. And in regard to the past, now we can look back to see, to awaken without the element of linear time. Yeah. Because the wisdom still comes, because the universe is never late. That means we can take from our past the powerful wisdom of the eternal moments, seen when we unveil the hurts and the blame given and received. You know, we've reached a point where forgiveness will cease to exist. Because perfection did not create forgiveness, but as a path to a higher perfection, a new reflection of itself, of ourselves. Yeah, it's true. It's just not necessary forgiveness, and neither is earth love. So we can stop chasing both right now and all the false securities and failed searches that go with the lofty goals of a moral world. Both the things that they put beyond our reach and the reasons they gave us for not being able to reach them. It's time to re-enter the fold of the immortal, the fold of the I Am soul. Hello, everybody. We're going to bring our beloved sister on here in just 1 second. Just a couple of quick announcements. If you guys could help us. These shows resonate with you, please share so we can stay above the algorithms of Facebook. These shows are available on YouTube within 24 hours. And thank you for the continued love and support and contributions to keep us going by the seat of our pants every day. And that's how this works. We have no guarantees as we walk through this transition we call ascension. And that's the free-flowing energy that we all are and that we all can exude by having faith, the transitive verb to trust and believe. This is a very special day. It's a powerful day. We had a great show this morning. We've got Sandra Walter on. I'm going to bring her up now. She was on last year on May the 30th of 2018, which was a very special day. And let me just unmute her. Can you hear me, Sandra?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I do. I hear you fine. It's good to see you.
Beautiful. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, it's good to see you. And like we do every day, it's all spontaneous, intuitive, creative, imaginative, and depending on what we're talking about, courageous. That's the vibration, and that's what you've exhibited for a long time. I heard a story a couple of days ago from a mutual friend that talked about when you first started getting downloads, and there was no network really on the internet established, and you would put them on your answer machine. Is that right? And I thought, oh my God.
I did. I was in Chicago and I had a pager. A pager. Remember pagers? And I used to record the message of the day. And I was like literally living in a transient hotel at the time with like roaches skirting across the payphone, like recording these messages that I was receiving. And then I would encourage my friends, like, call in and punch in 1999 to like, so I know that you're listening. Oh my goodness, that was a long time ago. 20 years. Woo.
20 years?
Yeah.
It's been going on 20 years.
Yeah.
Let me say to everybody too, we've had for the last 3 weeks, it seems to be on this show from what people are saying, you're getting knocked off during the show 5, 6, 7, 8 times. I just put up the Zoom link. I'll pin it and you can go into Zoom and watch it uninterrupted. Okay. So 20 years ago, I didn't recall that from the last time we talked. I didn't realize it'd been that long because I wasn't as aware of things a year ago. It's a powerful day. It's a powerful time. I picked up a couple of your transmissions in the last week. One about the earthquakes. I think it was the last one you put up.
Mm-hmm.
But before going on, let me just say, on behalf of myself, Morgan, Soulogy, the community, thank you for all you do. Thank you for coming today and sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much, brother. Right back at you.
Yeah. So, yeah. What's going on?
It's like everything's going on and nothing's going on at the same time.
Yeah.
Like there's this beautiful 0 point at the same time. There's all of this unfoldness of these higher timelines. And the reason why I put that latest article on YouTube was because we had a lot of grid workers, gatekeepers, light workers who were like, what just happened? And it was pretty powerful. And for me personally, you know, honestly, brother, I thought, you know, I felt, I was like, you know, probably done with the whole like getting called across the country kind of thing. And I was just like, wow, I hope that part of my journey is over. It's a little exhausting.
Yeah.
And then it was just like the brotherhoods and the masters were just hitting me. And it started in April. And I spoke at the Sedona Cosmic Awakening, which was just beautiful to see how these events are transforming. You know, it was, and I gave like one of the best talks of my time.
Yeah.
And it was really strong, and I was focusing on the sacredness rather than the sensationalism of contact. And it was just like, I just was really feeling it in my heart. And the moment, as soon as that conference was over, it was just like things just started happening day after day, showing me that a completely different trajectory was presenting for me. And I was trying to share that in the video too, because people had asked, like, how do you know where to go? And how do you end up like on the exact same point as an earthquake on that day? You know, like how does that happen? And I was like, well, here's how it goes down. And they were just showing me like all of a sudden the house is going away at the same time that other things are presenting. And it's just like you keep track of the signs, and then the brotherhood is just constantly showing up.
Is that the Great White Brotherhood that you're referring to?
Yes, one and the same.
Yeah.
Sometimes referred to as Great White Lodge of Sirius, sometimes Great White Brotherhood. You know, it's all the same thing. To me personally, they have connected, and of course it's male and female, but it's ascended master realm.
Yeah.
A lot of galactics involved because they're also galactics. Obviously, their higher aspects are as big as we are. You know.
Yeah.
But that very strong I am presence thing comes in when things are about to shift dramatically. And all of my brothers and sisters that have been working on the crystalline corridor, this whole like western part of the United States for years. I mean, my first experience with that was obviously 2012. I was called to Mount Shasta, but in 2013, I lived outside for 9 months. Like, I don't know if people realize, like, it was intense. And you were just like traveling through this whole area, like Tahoe and the Sierra Nevadas and in through the desert and Joshua Tree and into Sedona and then over to like Chaco Canyon and into New Mexico. It was just like, it was intense, but it was all this crystalline corridor, activation of the crystalline corridor. And that's when, you know, you could see one of those old videos of me like planting you know, crystals and trying to teach people how to plant crystals in the ground, like place them and get this whole thing activated. And so that's been going on for a while, but then all of a sudden it was just like, hey, when you come back from Sedona in May, you're going to want to go through the crystalline corridor on the east side of the Sierras. So you have like two different routes, you know, and it was just like consistently, and you have to go to Mono Lake and you have to do, you know, it's just like, it was intense.
Yeah.
So then when I was leaving, you know, I spent 3 days on the mountain because my house went away at the end of June. So I wanted to be in Shasta for the eclipse. I was there January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and on the 3rd, after 4 nights of getting all these codes and downloads, and they were just like loading me up. You know, they give me all kinds of things to take with me and start pouring stuff into my field. And then on the 3rd, they were like, go, you got to get to Mono Lake by sunset, which is, you know, you got to kind of fly out of Shasta. And there was all this work going on. This huge standing gate at Mono Lake got opened on January 3rd. And it was all part of this project to release freedom codes.
Yeah.
And freedom codes takes us into the purity of the 2020 Ascension timelines. So it's all timeline related.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what kind of grid work you do, you're always working on best case scenario for the collective ascension. So we're migrating a huge chunk of the collective to this completely different reality, this completely different energy. And we could feel it already, especially, you know, since that happened on July 4th. It's just this, I mean, Gaia is just like pouring this stuff out into our hearts and our fields and into the crystalline grid system and the new earth grid systems and the grid workers have just been, you know, everyone's been called into action in the last month.
Yeah. And this year has been, obviously it's been incredible. You've been doing this 20 plus years. I mean, I've only been even slightly aware for 8 years, but this year, God, even from the first of the year, or maybe from the winter solstice, it just moves so rapidly, and you think, oh my God, how can this move any faster? And then this month has been like I don't want to say a roller coaster, but as far as the speed, has just been like, you know, I mean, I just had a little episode half an hour ago, and I had all these videos playing in my head yesterday, last night, tomorrow, the future. And it was all these timelines. I'm getting to the point now where everything's moving so fast, I don't even try to understand anything.
Yeah.
You know? Just accept it and surrender to it. So do you feel like you're going to be continuing to move around, or do you feel like you're going to take root somewhere?
Well, oddly enough, this is, Todd, this is going to like trigger some folks. I'm going to be I have to go to LA for a couple of conferences in this optimistic TV show thing in August. I'm going to go back to Shasta just for a couple of days, and then I'm going to be in Sedona for 5 months.
Wow.
I did not see that coming.
Wow.
And I was just like, are you kidding me? You know, I'm like not going to be in Mount Shasta for the big eclipse at the end of December. I'm just like, why? They're like, what you did at Shasta, you're going to do in Sedona. I was just like, oh, wow. Because it's an important node.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Both
So,
of them are. And yeah, I kind of can relate to what you're saying because I traveled around for so long, and then I went to that Thousand Goddess gathering in DC and covered that for Soulogy. And on the way back, I got the call to go to Kauai, and
mm,
and I thought it would be another stop, but a lot of things happen. I realized it's a node as well. There's some type of, obviously they're all connected. And now I get this feeling of like, I don't know where we're going to be in 10 days. I don't know. Could be here. I'm not attached to anything, but something's changed these last couple of days.
yeah,
Like something has altered. Yeah. I mean, to the point where it's bigger than ever before.
correct.
I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. I'm just staying open and trying to, read the signs that come through and follow the direction.
Yeah, and you really have to let go of like any attachment to like making the right decision, making the wrong decision. Just you have to let it go. Like even me, like I'm renting a place in Sedona, which is not cheap, for 5 months starting in September, and I was just like, I like
Yeah, right.
I never signed contracts. I was just like, oh, okay, and it was just like, Sandra, just let it go.
Yeah,
Just let it go. That's what's happened 2 days ago.
yeah. 2 days ago. Yeah,
It's like who knows? Who
yeah,
knows?
yeah. You said it earlier. You said everything's happening and nothing's happening.
Yeah,
Morgan put it another way. She said 3D's like playing out here, 5D's playing out here, and I'm kind of like standing in the middle.
yeah,
And you dip over here and you fall back here and you dip. And it's weird because some of the constructs of the 3D, such as signing a contract, such as the stuff that we have to do or think we have to do or do we have to do it, are they going away? Are they going to disappear? I mean, I don't know. It's just, I can't put my finger on it. The only thing, like in the previous show, what Melissa Deanne was talking about, everything seems to be forcing us back into ourselves. Like it's taken everything I've got to maintain my field, and everything else I can't even look at.
yeah. That's the thing. It's really using your highest discernment, highest choices, moment to moment. Just really pulling yourself back into the heart, because the freedom codes create that pure diamond shining Christed light. It's so pure. And like I'm in Sedona now. So I've been running to like, I have so much energy. I'm like running every morning, and then I'm like crushing it at the gym in the
Oh
afternoon.
my God.
I'm just like, I have so much energy. So I'm like running to Bell Rock in the morning and like planting crystals and doing ceremony and everything. And it's just like the purity that's flowing
Yeah.
out of Gaia right now and out of ourselves
Yeah.
is quite stimulating, as well as it can really it really takes you out of all the lower stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it would be, and like for me, my way of staying grounded is to work.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people are just like, I can't do anything, and I'm like, I want to do everything right now.
Yeah.
Like that's the way that I keep myself intact.
And
Because
that's working for you. That works for you.
it does. It
Yeah.
does. Like anything creative, creating a video, writing,
Yeah.
all that stuff. I just need to stay busy, and it's like busy one day and the next day I can't move.
Yeah.
It's just, it is up and down. And that's that integrating the new codes. It's always been like that, but it's just more intense now.
Yeah.
Because we're all collectively creating this, like all the stuff that all of the brothers and sisters of light have been working on is now coming to fruition. And it's happening in a different way than anybody pictured it, because our consciousness has become so unified that we're now creating this like very expansive, beautiful reality to kind of migrate our consciousness as well as the physical into. And it's quite outstanding. I'm noticing that even in the Sunday unity meditations, we're seeing each other.
Yeah.
You know, you used to see like the collective or whatever, and now people are like, hey, how you doing? You know, just like right there, you're like, I can describe what you were wearing and
Yeah.
everything, just people presenting to each other. So we're really getting
Yeah.
unified. And that's that collective DNA activation too that's happening right now. We're starting to hit the 144 universal template, which is it's incredible to me, because then you're in alignment with the Godhead, you know, with your true God self,
Yeah.
which makes you a pure creator, which
Yeah.
means, yes, you have to be responsible about your creation. But when you're getting used to it, there's not a lot of pushing, trying to manifest something, trying to do this, trying to do that. That will not work on
No.
this timeline.
No, 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 no. No, it doesn't. It doesn't work at all. That's been a real challenge for the last few months. I let go about 3 or 4 months ago. We still don't have our website up, and I just let go. I just said, you know what? No, you can't force anything. That energy of force is really, really loud now too, and that's not a judgment. Like you said, it's discernment, even within your own actions or lack thereof. I mean, force just does not work. And then you have the two things you mentioned too, was these energies that are coming down. So it used to be like, oh my God. And now, like I remember I canceled a day of shows about 2 weeks ago, and all 4 of the people said, thank God. You know, I'm like disraveling right now. Is it just me? I said, no. I'll just go on the news feed. You can see. So that's happening too, where everybody's having a very similar, whether it be emotional, physical. The physical seems to be huge right now. I don't know if you have any intel on this, but I know over the last couple of weeks, I know my body, and my body is like converting, I guess, or transitioning to that light body at rapid pace. I mean, faster than ever before.
Yes, absolutely. And that's part of that collective DNA thing that comes in, because the freedom codes are technically unity consciousness codes. So it's when you are connecting to the over soul level, that's like 300,000 to 500,000 expressions running as separate humans. You know, when you're starting to click in to that part of the 144 DNA template, that collective DNA, it does a number on the physical. And it's not like it used to be like, oh, I'm, you know, feeling this, feeling that. Like it's a different kind of energy. That's why I've been like working out so much, because
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to move
Yeah.
energy or I'm going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, if I just like I mean, yes, there's times when I have to just lay down, where it's just like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything right now. And you just have to let it integrate. But I'll be darned if I'm going to just like lay there for 24/7. It's, you have to move.
Yeah.
You have to allow the body, because the DNA, you know, the DNA is creating your form. And if it's going to change, and if it's going to go light body, you're going to feel it, you
Yeah.
know, and it's already happened at the etheric level. So as we physicalize this representation of it, the whole body vehicle is getting expanded in different ways. Different frequencies are literally getting beamed through the body. So it's quite incredible.
Yeah, and it's interesting to watch all the my own and other people's interactions, human interactions, and have watched like the evolution for all of us over the last few months with projection, with just, I don't want to even say projection, just the way everybody has to handle their stuff, how it comes, how it's shown to us. Do you ever get overcome by you know, like a trigger, or the energies are just really intense, where you've got to take some space, or how do you deal with something like that?
I'm very good about taking space and kind of creating boundaries. There's so much. I mean, when you're dealing with like earthquakes and like grid activations and stuff like that, like, you know, stray comments or projections or whatever, you're like, whatever, dude. You know, just
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
you can deal with that. You know, just like
Yeah.
allowing people to
Yeah.
have their journey has always been my thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
you get to have your experience. If you want to
Yeah.
project it on me, whatever. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't. It just doesn't matter because I'm just looking at my goal of ascension, of being the purest conduit of ascension information that I can be, and being in alignment with that, and actually making the transition and the transformation into a light body state is hard enough,
Yeah.
let alone trying to, you know, deal with everybody else's stuff. So I'm just like, you know what, only what I need to engage with. I'm very discerning.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I think a lot more people are starting to do that and honor themselves and not get overly concerned about, you know, hurting someone's feelings. I'm not, you know your intention, you know your heart. If you're in your heart, and like you said, just to respect and honor everybody's journey, because everybody's okay. You know, everybody's going to be all right. It's just, it is a lot on the human aspect. Has a human Sandra, I mean, I know there's a lot of connections for all of us, but you know, been doing this for a long time, multidimensional connections and this and that. But the human, or maybe I should say the transitioning human or the divine human, really seems to be coming out slowly but surely. Can you relate to that? Do you see people blossoming more and more?
Can I see people doing what?
Blossoming, you know,
Blossoming.
flowering, yeah.
Yeah, because, and again, like I see that as DNA related, because like everything is just crystalline DNA is just like overwhelming my consciousness right now. I'm just getting, because I'm about to teach a class, so it's just like all this crystalline DNA information. But there's literally a layer or a strand template that gets turned on with mastery, where you can't create distortion. Like you have no desire to create distortion. You catch yourself immediately.
Yeah.
You're speaking kindness always
Yeah.
from the heart. You're always taking that breath, you know. And those of us who have trained with the masters, I mean, if you're having contact, they are consistently saying, hey, watch it, you know, hey, wait a minute, before you say that, take a breath.
Yeah.
You know, and you get trained, and then eventually, you know, you get to the point where you're like, you know what, I'm just making that conscious choice. I'm always going to speak with kindness,
Yeah.
even for what's going on with my own journey. I'm always going to express myself, but I'm going to take that breath. If, you know, if anything would even trigger me at this point, I'm going to take that breath and make sure that I'm saying exactly what's on my heart, and not from any kind of distortion or attacking or anything like that. It just
Absolutely.
does not come into your field anymore. You just don't create that anymore. So that human part of me is, I mean, July has been an extremely emotional month. I mean, my God, to like walk into an earthquake was pretty intense. It was pretty intense. And to be like in the middle of the Mojave, it's like 100 degrees, and there's like, and the ground shaking, and people are, you know, the few people that are around are just like freaked out, you know, trying to find water and gas. And I ran into a lot of people at the gas station in Johannesburg, you know, or they're like trying to fill up their tank and get all the water, and they're totally unprepared for any kind of earth change, and they're just like freaking out. And it was beautiful to be there. I actually like lingered in the little, you know, gas station stop, and talking to the owner and everything like that, and just having kind words for people, and how are you guys okay, and everybody was really okay. I mean, everyone was really dealing with it in such a beautiful way, and helping each other out, and that always brings people together. You know, when the ground's shaking under your feet, it's kind of levels the playing field you know, for everybody. So it was a beautiful thing to witness. But it's but that level of consciousness that is kind, that is caring, that is your mastery self, is really getting turned on now if you allow it. And I know a lot of people deny their own heart access to that, because they don't know what's on the other side of that veil.
Yeah.
They don't know what's going to happen to me. I'm not going to be safe if I really open up my heart. I'm not going to be safe
Yeah.
if I say exactly how I feel in a kind and loving way and don't kind of, put my dukes up kind of thing. It's you got to trust it. Yeah, I mean that's what the way showing is about.
Yeah.
We're just being the snowplow and just paving the way, making sure that everyone sees that it's safe to be in this state of consciousness, because it is just a state of consciousness,
Yeah.
and the templates are there, and as they get activated, you start feeling it more and more, and you're going to feel your old self going away.
Yeah.
And that part of it can be very emotional for people. They're just like, oh my God, I don't understand, and you have to like look to your way showers who just keep flowing with it. You're like, okay, I'm here for now. It's weird. Of course it's weird. And like,
Thank you. Thank you for saying all that. It is weird.
It's
It is.
weird.
It
Just
is.
like, oh my God, I just left Mount Shasta. I've been there for
Mhm.
7 years. And now all of a sudden I'm in Sedona in summertime.
Yeah.
It's monsoon season. I mean, I'm fascinated by it. It's like a thunderstorm every day. And I'm surrounded by like hummingbirds and hares and tarantulas and like all kinds of new stuff. I saw a tarantula this morning. I was like, woo. Very cool.
It's hard to even look like one day ahead, you know. You know, and then it's like full moon, eclipse, one thing after another. We got this Lionsgate coming up. Do you have any type of information on that, or do we even know anymore? Does it even matter anymore what we're headed into? I mean, it's just
kind of doesn't matter. I mean, the timeline is the timeline is the timeline. It's interesting to kind of watch the effects of, because timelines have a vibration. So when you get a whole bunch of people vibrating at that timeline and starting to experience it in the physical, it has a very strong effect on the other timelines, the other levels of reality. And just as a side note, the events that happened on July 4th, I'm not talking about the earthquakes. I'm talking about like all the stuff behind the scenes. Massive, just massive. Because the freedom codes were coming through POTUS. They were coming through different factions of government and politics and financial systems and everything. It was just like, that was huge.
wow.
Huge. So we should start seeing the effects of that over the next couple of months, in order to, again, we're migrating realities to that higher timeline. So the things that we really can't cling to how we thought this was going to unfold.
Yeah. The prognostications kind of go out the window now. Yeah. And a lot.
And Lionsgate is, I mean, it's always been, August is always a strong passage. Yeah. It's always a strong passage. And Lionsgate technically is already open. So it's like this huge, it's a month-long thing. It's not just the 8/8. It's beautiful if people get together and do ceremony and meditations and everything. That should be consistent now, just to kind of ground this higher light into the collective consciousness and really connect with Gaia. That's why we're here. Really connect with Gaia and assist her in kind of birthing this next level of timeline. But it's and me as somebody who's always been like, okay, we're going to unify on this date, and technically we're not even done with the eclipse passage. Like that doesn't close until the new moon next week on the 31st. So all of July is just like, maybe we should just concentrate on closing out this eclipse passage with as much ease and grace and amplification as possible, and then kind of move into the August energies, which are very different. I'm just like taking a look at it going, wow, I have to travel and do all this events and stuff like that. And I'm like, wow, in the middle of all that energy. I mean, it is what it is. August has always been very strong for me. I've always had radical consciousness shifting experiences in August. So it is what it is. I mean, we're walking in both of the worlds. So you're presenting and you're also having an experience, and you just kind of bring all that energy into your work.
Yeah.
You just take it day by day. I mean, I'm not saying that the Lionsgate isn't valid, but I felt last year that Lionsgate was kind of like, oh, we're still doing that. You know, there's that part of me that's like, how long do we do this? You know, where we're doing the 11, 11, 12,
Yeah,
12,
yeah, yeah.
8, 8,
Versus just taking every day is,
versus being in the now.
yeah,
you know?
every day. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's you know, but it's time to unify. So any chance to unify, positive, you know, it's
I-
good.
Is it just me and some of the people I've observed around me, or in this past month, like, and of course, I know I've said this and other people have said it in the past, it's all about change. It's all about growth and expansion. I get that. But like something huge feels like it's changed. I don't know if it was a huge timeline shift. Maybe that's what you were referring to earlier, where there was more people collectively jumping on this higher timeline. I don't know, but it feels, and I even feel it talking to you with the changes you're making, having to go on the road, and now you're in Sedona for 5 months.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it just seems very real now.
It's radical. It's radical what has happened over the last couple of months. And technically it happened back in June. I mean, it was like end of May, and then June 4th, all of a sudden, boom. There is no way that higher timeline is not going to play out. It was just like the line in the sand was drawn, and everything that has happened since then is now putting us into the 2020 energies. And 2020 is like, this is, I mean, we have a solar eclipse at the end of December. I think it's not Christmas. I think it's the day after Christmas. That is, that's a true consciousness shifting event, if you will, not the event. I'm not talking about that nonsense.
Yeah.
But all of us who have co-created that, we have to realize that our higher levels are co-creating that. It's not the masters, it's not the galactics, it's not the oversouls, it's us. It's us, our higher levels. Even if you're not aware of it, or the veil is just like a little too thick, you know, pull the veil down around your eyes and you're just like, I don't see it. You know, it's just like, from the higher perspective, we have already co-created that with Gaia. Technically, the ascension already occurred in 2012, and everything that's been going on, it took 7 years to get to where we are now, where we're catching up to that higher timeline that was already there. That primary Christed timeline has always been there as a possibility. And all of a sudden, enough people woke up, you get the resonation, you're hitting the unity meditations like every Sunday, and there's just like a constant yes, yes, yes. People changing their lives, changing their hearts, doing, you know, the work on their own ascension path. And it's a collective choice. You know, we made the collective choice to do it. So when you get these trigger points because of the energies coming through the sun and the Syrian gates open and like all this stuff, all of a sudden is jump time, you know, and we jumped to that collective higher timeline where our higher self already exists.
Yeah.
And that was the embodiment choice. You know, embodiment started occurring in a very physicalized way back in March. And for those of you who are going through that, you have my heart, because it's the weirdest thing happening. It's the strangest thing to have your higher self just completely take over your consciousness. Like little by little, you feel your lower self just going away. Your memories start going away.
Yes.
It's wild. It's really wild. You're like, what did you do yesterday? Yeah.
Yeah, right. I thought it was just me. I've been happy to see more and more people talking about that. So you mentioned the triggers, and I think even like the perspective of triggers or chaos. Like as you were talking about, more people are jumping up onto that timeline. I think is that I mean, it seems like chaos ignites that, the self-reflection, you know, the higher awareness. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. This loop has been playing. So I think more people are starting to, from what I'm seeing on the shows and what I do, more people are starting to be aware of, hey, it's not them, it's me. And sometimes it's I guess it's the chaos that shows us.
Yeah, and that's really from like a higher self level or a mastery I am level, uh, doing the work, like showing you like we're making this choice, and even if you haven't woke up yet, you know,
Yeah,
journey gets shaken up, you know, and that happens to, you know, people who are on the path for a while remember what it was like back in the day, like all of a sudden your whole life just
yeah,
crashed.
yeah,
So, and you get the crash over and over again. The more that we level up, it's just like, because because there has to be a through line. There has to be a through line. So it like takes all the flotsam and all the stuff that you don't need and all the stuff that you don't have to carry, and it gets more refined and more refined. The filters get more and more refined as you get into that higher frequency. And if you're truly going to go light body ascension, then nothing's going to get through that last gate
yeah.
except
That's right.
your true heart.
Yeah.
And if things aren't resonating with you, people, jobs, places, whatever, it's always going to get taken away. And then you adjust, and then it gets taken away again, and then you adjust, and it gets taken away again, and you continually go through the filters. You know, I really honor people who have like built their journey to have a stationary place or something like that. That's beautiful because they're, you know, anchoring energies in a certain place. But for those of us who are traveling or more flexible, it's just like you try not to get PTSD about, you know,
Yeah, right. Living out of a suitcase.
oh, you know, you just kind of breathe through it, let it be, and trust. You
Yeah,
know, that it's also a mastery test. You know, how much do you trust
yeah,
your heart? What does your heart really feel? It would have been really safe for me to stay in Mount Shasta, but honestly, I was getting bored.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. You're bringing some stuff up for me. So, I've been trying not to look at it, but I think I've
Come on,
learned in
brother,
this.
let it out.
Yeah, you know, but you know, that resistance that the human has, which like you're talking about, is going away, whether you like it or not. I mean, the higher self is coming in. It's found. It's, you know, creating. It's grounding more and more and more,
Right.
and there's these little things playing out. And so I had this thought, like so I said, you're triggering. Where am I going to be in 10 days? What's going to be going on? And it's this surrender of I'm okay either way. You know, the human would like to say, no, 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 wait a minute. Let's keep it like it is. But
Yeah.
but this is what's happened to us. And I'm seeing it happen to more and more people. They are leaving relationships, they're leaving their jobs, they're moving, they're making these crazy decisions by the old world's perspective. But that is the higher self coming in, isn't it?
Truly. Truly. I mean, because it is, like I said, the mastery test. How much do you trust? How much do you trust the journey? Are you making the right choice? Are you making the highest choice for service? That's a thing. It's not about, you know, service to self is getting the cosmic Shazam right now. So if you're just worried about you and your stuff,
Good luck.
good luck. Yeah, it's just that's all like you gotta let it go, gotta let it go, gotta be okay with it, gotta trust your creator self, and also nurture
Yeah,
that creator self, that creator state of consciousness. It's not about, it doesn't feel like old school manifestation. I really want this, I'm going to focus on this.
yeah, yeah,
So broad, it's so expansive and beautiful that it's just like you're, you know, if I try to like get my mind around trying to manifest things in a certain way, I just I treat it all as like a big playground right now. Like I'm going to LA, and yesterday I have like comps to this music thing, and I was just like, well, let's just like text some friends and see if they're available, right? So I like text Lee Harris. Lee's going to be in Austin. Okay, the text John Burgos. Oh, maybe I can change my flight from LA and I can be there or whatever. I'm just like throwing it out.
Yeah.
No attachment to outcome. Let's just see, let's see who's around, you know, who wants to play, and keeping it in that state of who wants to play. Because I'll tell you, brother, you know, with this kind of like intense gate work and stuff, like you could start taking yourself really seriously.
Yeah.
You know, you're just like, how did I end up being the only gatekeeper showing up July 4th morning at the earthquake epicenter? You know, you could start taking it like from a really egoic mental level, going, holy crap, I'm a badass. You know?
Yeah,
It's just like,
it's true.
let's shut all that down. Like that
Yeah.
does not exist for me
Yeah.
anymore. It's just like, just you're in your heart, like it is what it is. Certainly not easy, but it's just, you just take, you know, you just, it's part of the service. It's part
Yeah.
of the service. It's part of the whole big operation. And if everyone can just like pull back from their badassery when it comes to working on the grid systems, and just like pull back and just feel into a higher perspective and service through the heart, then you're in the higher state. Because anybody who's worked with the masters, they don't carry any of that. You know,
Yeah.
Saint Germain is not like, you know,
Yeah.
do this, you know, kind of thing. They don't exist in that state of consciousness at all. It's all about the bigger picture, the bigger flow. What's the highest thing? What's the highest timeline that they can experience right now? What can they handle? And brother, we can handle a lot. This is a major upgrade, and it's,
Absolutely.
we're already in that pull of that that eclipse in the 2020 timeline. It's already here. That's the thing. Like our experience of time too gets so accelerated. Like we're experiencing 2020 already. You know, it's just like, there's no waiting 5 months. You know, it's just like now. And it's beautiful, because then you start getting that expanded perspective. And rather than going into the old stories of like, oh, that event is going to change my life forever, and then we're all going to be cool. You know, it's just like, wait,
No.
wait.
No.
Let's just pull back and put on your galactic, you know, halo, and like understand from the big picture what's going on.
Yeah, I struggle with that whole event, whatever you want to call it, concept. I respect everybody's journey, I respect their channelings, whatever, but there is no finality here. It's not like we're going to get to a certain point and we're just going to put our feet up on the desk and relax and say, okay, we made it. You know, it's just but this is also very exciting because of all the work everyone's done, and you can feel it. You know, it's, and that's another thing I noticed too, is like, okay, for instance, since the end of last year, in my own experiences and many others that have been on the show, and what I've seen people post, dragon energy, like a lot of dragon energy. And what is that? And then there's this other energy, or this divine essence, or this galactic, or this star nation. But it seems like all of that's being funneled down to the I am, to the me, to the top, you know, where it provided us the stepping stones, the cookie crumb trail home, the information, the data, and all that. But it's like this real-time presence is not just the human saying, I'm going to be present. It's everything collapsing into one. And it's all available to us. It's like, okay, now what are you going to do? Kind of
And
thing.
that's that creator state of consciousness, because you start seeing it all. You start seeing it all the different truths, you know, 7 billion truths running at once. It's incredible. It's incredible. And there's no judgment on other truths that are running on the planet. You know, even the stuff that looks like, wow, that is so crazy distorted. How could anybody believe that that's a thing? You know, how could anybody believe that that you would want to engage with some of that stuff? And I have to tell you, like, even from like from the mastery point of view, it kind of I know it is what it is. You know, and when you can stay in neutrality, understanding, there was a lot of distortion, and now it's gone, and now you're just experiencing the dissolvement of all that stuff going away. And the more of us that can move into creating the new and the positive and the higher stuff,
Yeah.
and migrating our consciousness to new earth, you get that timeline. I mean, the timelines
Yeah.
are dividing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
it's been going on since August 2011. You know, it's just like people are expecting like a one day boom, you know, kind of thing. And I'm like, in this density, you get the long, you know, it's like Inception, you know, the movie, like the lower the layer, the longer
Oh
the
yeah.
experience, you know, and you're just like, God, it feels so long, you know, and it's just like, now when you start resonating with like the higher dimensional experience, all of a sudden it's like everything's flying. What are you talking about? Like it's all happening simultaneously. It's you know, that the beauty of that is something that I deeply appreciate. You
Yeah.
know, and I appreciate that return to that creator state of consciousness where we are able to unify as one with divine love as a choice.
Yeah.
You know, ideally you realize there's nothing here but love, and everything else is just challenging that because its source is one of the experience. You know, when you realize that source is witnessing everything through you, that's why my talks now are called I Am Witness, because it's that state of consciousness where it's just like, just be a good witness,
Yeah.
just be a true and good witness to what's going on, and make the choice in the direction of what you would like to experience, and you will be on that timeline.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And that makes a lot of sense too, because there seems to be like a shift. We spent a lot of time in the past on identifying and removing shadow or whatever you want to call it. And now it seems to me there's more emphasis on just creating, create. You know, we've got enough space, and somehow, and it works for me. It works better because it feels better. You know, it feels right. It's spontaneous. It's intuitive. You know, it's always an unknown, like you said earlier. Some people are afraid to walk into it because they don't know what's there.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. It's just I don't I want to say that we've arrived, but it's something has shifted to the point where you can see it. It's you can feel it, you can touch it, and enough people around you are like saying, "Hey, I'm going through the same thing."
Yeah, and that's why it's so good to unify and to get together, to have the kind of conversations that you do too, so that we can all kind of check in with each
Yeah.
other, because we've created different family structures altogether. You know, we're like soul family, star family. I mean, we've pretty much, I mean, a lot of us have not abandoned, but just like really don't check in with like our grounded family much, you know, unless they woke up. But we've created like different family structures, and that family needs nurturing. You know,
Yeah.
you got to get together,
Yeah.
got to, you know, explore with each other, and just kind of reassure each other and hug each other and exchange codes and light each other's
Yeah.
hearts up, you know, even in this now moment, just like dropping into the heart, into that diamond shining heart, and just surge the highest level of love and gratitude to everybody who's going to engage with this video. It's, and all of Gaia, all of humanity, and absolutely no judgment. You don't love one person more than another. You
Right.
don't love that person and not those people. There's no
Yeah.
such thing as those people and these people and everything. You know, it's a state of unity. Consciousness is a very different state of consciousness. And now that we're getting a taste of it, you know, we're you know, stretching our wings in this new territory, just kind of going, wow,
Yeah.
this is not what I expected.
Yeah.
This is not what I expected.
No, I agree with you. And what you said earlier too, we have no idea what it's going to look like. And
It keeps leveling up. That's the other thing, is like we keep raising the bar. I mean, the Pleiadians are like, you guys overshot the whole thing. And like, you're going for like completely different states of consciousness that they didn't have the framework for. You know, it was just, we're really turning on the human genome, you know, to the 144 level. And that gives us really unique abilities. And it's just, and we're not talking about the classic, like walking on water and instant healing and everything. It's different.
Yeah.
It's very different. Yes, you're going to create purity, and you're going to harmonize everything that's around you when those extra layers start getting turned on. That's beautiful. But as we move into that and you start witnessing it, like I've noticed with some of my students, they witness that kind of restructuring of the reality around them gets harmonized, and it's, it used to be like a triggery thing. Now it's like a harmonizing thing, as we all level up. But they witness it, they treat it as like, oh, I did that thing. And then you got to step down and reintegrate the true purpose of that, is to become a conduit of source, to become a pure Christed being, is just to allow God to work through you. So we get used to that. And the more that you can remind yourself of that and really come back into the heart and go, it's not about me.
Yeah,
Me,
exactly.
or whatever. This is really a unified thing.
And that's what you said earlier about the ego too, because the higher your soul goes, the higher your ego goes. But that's a great way to go through it. Like you just said, is once it happens, to come back down and say, okay, this is what happened. It's not me. I'm not that badass. You know what I mean? But it's a great way to check yourself. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So did you say, I don't know if you did, because I've got this memory lapse thing going. Did you? Did you?
Which means I can deny it, right?
Did you say you were going to, are you going to do anything on 8/8? Are you going to do anything like have a get together or anything?
I'm going to get some folks together here in Sedona.
Yeah.
It's kind of difficult to get together outside because it's like thunder and 100 degrees or whatever, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Definitely get some people together. I mean, I want to honor it.
Absolutely.
And we have, global events going on. So I always want to honor it, and I always want to strengthen the intention. And we're still using those kind of time-based triggers.
Yeah.
We'll have another one during the new moon, of course, every Sunday with the unity meditations. Anytime there's an opportunity, really, anytime there's an opportunity for people to go, oh, 8/8, let's all do something.
Yeah.
I'm on board. I have no judgment about whether it's important or not. Everything's important and not important right now. It's just like, wow, this is beautiful. Probably the most important thing we can do is be as kind and creative as we can right now.
Yeah.
Honestly, just to anchor in those frequencies and the freedom codes. I keep reminding people of this. Any way that you can express freedom in your own journey, if anything feels like it's holding you back, or you have held yourself back, because ultimately it's your choice to be held back by anything, you need to, really just release any kind of restraint, or I can't do that because, or I have to wait for whatever. You got to let it go and just at least take a little micro movement in the direction of freedom.
Yeah, liberation. Yeah.
It's the liberation, because it's the liberation of the soul groups. It's the liberation of the DNA codes. It's ultimately, they are unity consciousness codes. So the more that we can move in that direction, just play like it's new earth already and don't wait for anything. But whatever it is in your personal life stream, you have to realize that the high vibe tribe has a lot more influence because you're awake and you're ascending and you've made that choice, and you have more pull on the migration of realities than somebody who's asleep. Somebody who's asleep has no influence at this. No influence. That timeline choice is like splintering off.
Yeah.
So, we in our wisdom need to make sure that we're doing the good work.
Yeah. And what about you're starting to see more, I don't know, I'm seeing it, non-agenda based collaboration, co-creation seems to really be a spark. And I think you were talking about we will start getting together. We've had some monad interdimensional experiences. That seems to be, I guess that's soul tribe or soul family, where they're in the non-physical or the etherical, and then you might even know the people, you know, things like that. So there seems to be some type of cohesion occurring between, like, you know, council meetings, dream state, what we do, how we communicate there, and there seems to be, it's seamless, more seamless with the physical, you know, awake state. So
Yeah, in my personal experience, like there's almost no difference between dream state and awake state at this point. It's like
that's good.
sometimes I lay down, but I'm still kind of like whoosh, just it's very lucid. You know, it feels very lucid during the day. Feels not like tripped out, dreamy, but I'm just like it's very lucid with my team and my higher levels and everything. And then I lay down to sleep, and it's just like still this like lucid. Yeah, I'm just like wow. There's like no difference. Like sometimes my eyes are closed and my body is flat. You know,
Yeah.
it's just it's really um and I feel like as somebody who has been kind of documenting the ascension process, like that, trying to describe this state of consciousness without, it's almost like I need new words
Yeah.
or new terms, or it all just turns to poetry,
Yeah.
honestly, brother. It's just like, I just hand somebody a Rumi book, you know, you're just like,
Yeah.
you know,
You
it's
can't.
just like it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's so and I mentioned in one of the videos that I did this week too, there's a state of it's like a romantic melancholia. That's what it feels like to me. Like I feel like I'm head over heels in love with everything all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
That's very, very, I mean, you know, as a, you, as a way shower, uh, we, to know what's coming, which is what you said earlier, the way showers just need to keep doing this so others can pick up on that frequency, that consciousness, and start to carry it. But it's moving so fast, you know, it's just like, uh, I don't know. I feel like what you said earlier. There's these waves of, I almost want to say a higher presence, or I guess a more aware presence, or a more grounded presence. We just had one. We went down to the town between shows a while ago, and I pulled into the grocery store parking lot, and I could feel it just from head to toe, just come into my body.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, you know,
Yeah.
what is this? And what you said earlier about the lucidness,
Yeah.
I actually felt like I was in an altered, what we would have called in the past, an altered state.
Correct.
And I said,
Correct.
Morgan, do you feel this? And she's like, no. And then all of a sudden, boom, it hit her. She said, I'm
Oh,
not.
and her too. Yeah,
Yeah,
interesting. You know, like I said, I've been running to Bell Rock in the morning, and I'm standing there, and I'm just like, it's just. I mean, I'm just standing on the ground, you know, and I've been running, so I'm like all sweaty because it's hot as Hades here, you know. And I'm standing there, and all of a sudden, it's just like that comes over you. It's just like the higher self is just like
yeah,
stepping right through,
yes,
and
yeah,
you're just like, whoa, like, but the in the past, I would have been like, oh, okay, now I have to do something with this, you know,
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah,
And now it's just like bliss.
yeah,
Okay. All right, thank you. Can I run home now? All right, thank you. You know,
yeah,
and it's just I just express gratitude every time that happens. But it's hitting us out of nowhere. You know, you're just like walking through the room and boom,
yeah,
it's really quite beautiful.
yeah,
And I feel like just because we're, you know, no judgment, there's no hierarchy, but just
yeah,
because we've chosen to be those way showers, and we're just like, okay, just show me the good stuff, you know,
yeah,
um that we're actually anchoring that state of consciousness
yeah,
so that it won't be so weird for people kind of coming up the ranks. You know,
yeah,
that's always the way it's been. You always have that experience first,
yeah,
and then of course people are like searching online like, I entered an altered state of consciousness in the grocery store. You know, whatever. They get,
True,
you
true.
know, they get a conversation with Todd or an article from Sandra or whatever going, yeah, it's weird.
No, that's very true, and I've observed that in these shows. You know, we're over 1,300 shows now. I think you were probably last year. You were probably like in the 350 range. We were that far in. But what I noticed is, in talking about the people that come on, talk about their experience, which would have been a year ago, or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, and the people that are listening, many of them, are saying, "Oh my God, this is happening to me. Thank you. You know, I'm not crazy."
Right.
You know, so it does make it easier for them, and that's a great description of it, because it's not. Well, you know what? To me, it feels easier now, obviously more than ever, and I think the biggest challenge, and it's not a challenge, is just accepting it. It's like, okay, this is how it's going to be, and this is not even how it's going to be. It's going to be like exponentially much grander than this, but it's like, wow, like I'm just want to poke you in the arm and say, is that you? Is this really happening? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. And
which
I
is
know there was a whole collective of us that chose embodiment last year. And that started happening like September, October, where all of a sudden you started hitting these phases of embodiment. And those first embodiers were kind of experiencing like a mourning or a release of the old self. It was just kind of like you had to kind of pause and take a moment and going, wow, it's never going to be the same.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not going to be, this journey is not going to be anything that I thought it was going to be. It's not going to play out the same way. I'm never going to be that thing that I thought I was going to be or I was. And there's absolutely no going back. It was just
yeah,
like the door closed behind you. It was just like, mm-mm. And you had to kind of witness that and go, whew, wow, I am never going to have that old state of consciousness again. All right, here we go. Here we go. You know, and you just have to, you know, you parent yourself through it. But but the, but the experience of it is so extraordinary. I mean, I don't have a partner or a house or anything at this point, and I'm so in love. I'm so in love and so in such gratitude. I mean, you could put me anywhere,
yeah,
and I would just be like gushing at this point. And for me, you know, I have a history of depression and like, gosh, I tried to take myself off the planet back in my 20s. You know, it was
yeah,
just like all that near death experience and all that stuff. It's just gone.
yeah,
Like, I know it happened, but
yeah.
it's just gone.
No,
It's like you can't plug into that old emotion at all. You can't even plug into that old timeline at all. It's just like, wait.
yeah, yeah. And it's like you said, some of those releasing, some of those consciousnesses, you release people. It seems like you release identity, and with that goes some father, you know, brother, whatever the case is. And there's a little bit of parenting, as you were talking about. It takes some parenting to get through that, because there is some grief with that, you know, and that's real. That's real. But to your point, there's, on a personal level, there's no place now that I'd rather be. Whatever dimensional experiences I've had, whatever memories I've had, you know, on a personal level, I want to be here. I want to see what the hell's going to happen here. Are
It's
we going to take?
exciting.
I know. Yes, it really is.
I know. And it's just like, wow, how weird is it going to get? You know, you're just like
How weird is it
excited
going to
about,
get?
I mean, it is going to get weird, you know, but weird in a good way. You know,
Oh
just
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you can feel it. You can feel it already. I mean, there is that, uh, I mean, there's the excitement and the gratitude and everything, but I can feel in the collective like a whole lot of trepidation. Um, and that's just because of what happened, you know, the beginning of July. They were just like, ah, you know, just people kind of freaked out. And I was just like, everybody, you know, calm down,
Yeah.
you know, keep eyes on the prize kind of thing.
Yeah.
And remember, I mean, it's an important lesson of how we can co-create realities in 0 point in a very much faster way
Yeah.
than ever before. You know, we're getting the experience of a higher self, really stepping stepping forth. And
Yeah.
it's just, it's going to feel different. You know, we've been told for years, completely different experience. And as we come into that, you really have to let go. I'm getting beamed, brother.
Yeah.
You really have to, there's that altered state of consciousness. Okay. What were we talking about?
Yeah.
You have to like,
No, I'm with you, because I was getting that whole Pleiadian thing you were talking about earlier.
oh, yeah.
I was seeing like a stream of, I guess, stream of consciousness, how it overshot the runway in a good way, like you were
Yeah.
saying. So even what intel you or anyone else may have gotten 2, 3, 5 years ago, based on what was available at the time, it's everything's shattered, everything's exploded. I mean, we're not opening the door. We're projecting like a plasma beam through the door.
Right.
By the time we figured out we went through the door, we're like eons, and space has separated us from the door we went through. I mean, this is exciting.
It's interesting. It's interesting to be a teacher during this time, because you get people who are just, they're just hitting their awakening, and they want you to have the conversation that you had 20 years ago, and you're like, what? Like, oh, I forgot that existed, kind of thing. I mean, I'm so grateful that my classes are all like uploaded and videoed and like, packaged, so somebody can like watch it and not really have to engage with me personally for like that stage of awakening. But you can see like how quickly people go through the process now is really a testament to this higher vibration and this acceleration, because people are just like, they get it, they're doing it, they get into their practices, they change their diet, they change their attitude, they do their emotional clearing, they start meditating, they want it. All of a sudden it's like the at the soul level is going, it's like supercharging them to like move through it as quickly as possible. So it's beautiful. They don't get the hang-ups that we had too. There's so much clearing of the collective. Really
and some of the young people, we've had some young people on here. We had a lady out of New York that was on here a couple of weeks ago, 23 years old. And I said, when did this happen for you? She said it was 2017. But as she described her journey from 2017 to the present day, it's exactly what you said. She's like, okay, I got it. I get it. Next step, next step, next step. And then you see her post every day, and she's, she's narrating her experience, which is everything. It's, oh my God, will you leave me alone? To thank you for that gift you just gave me. I can't wake up. I've been laid out all day sleeping. Why am I craving to eat this? And, all this it's pure intel. It's the human, the divine human, the hybrid human, whatever you want to call it, telling it like it is in that moment. And to me, that's where the biggest activations come from, the biggest channelings, the biggest downloads, the biggest code exchange. Yes, that served us and still does, the multidimensional or other aspects. But when we're talking to each other, it's gold. And it's not even the words. It's what you were talking about earlier, just that heart frequency going out.
Yeah. And it's very important. It's important that we support. I mean, I posted this on my Instagram this week, and everyone was like, thank you for saying that. It's so important that light workers do everything possible to stay unified and in love and kindness and support, no matter what, because anything that seeks to divide us at this point has no chance. But why would you choose a lower timeline by, punking on your brothers and sisters? It doesn't make sense at all. It's just like, we have to stay unified as a family of light. And it's that, I mean, that's our touchstone. That's going to be our touchstone through all of this, because it is going to get weird, and you're not going to have the energy to pick on each other or to judge each other. It's going to get a little weird. So.
It's a full-time job taking care of myself. And I mean, it really is. And I've got a couple of, more than a couple of friends that probably have gotten a little offended that I don't communicate, but I tell them I can't. It's nothing personal. I'm integrating. And when I'm through integrating, like this conversation, something will hit me in an hour. Like, okay, well, maybe I'll call them now. And then something else will come in. I'm like, what was that? you know, and I don't even try to understand anything anymore. Like today, what happened downtown at the grocery store parking lot, I just hear everything changes. My hearing changed, my vision changed, my body changed, and I'm like, okay, you know, maybe I'm gonna barf, you know, maybe I'm not gonna barf, but this is a good thing.
Was that this morning?
That was about, well, it would have been, yeah, it would have been like 3 hours ago.
Oh my gosh, I had the same thing at the same time, brother. I was
Yeah.
like, I was like working out because I'm just obsessed with that right now. It's just how I'm
Yeah.
moving the energy right now.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden it was just like the hum, and I feel like I'm gonna throw up, and it was just, yeah, it was really strong.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No,
we have to understand that Gaia too is opening up all these different gateways and doing all this adjusting, and the whole crystalline corridor, which includes Hawaii, is extremely active right now. So we're probably going to be, you know, as conduits of that, you're going to feel it. You know, you're going to feel those adjustments, and that's a sensation that I feel on Shasta quite often. It's like you'll be walking up a trail and all of a sudden, you know, it's like you just stepped into a portal, and it's just, you know, it's the you know, the gateways and all those channels for energy, you know, they're opening up right through us. And if you're somebody like me who's saying I would, you know, constantly reinforcing, allow me to be a conduit of these energies, because you're becoming a star being, you're becoming a solar entity. So just like Solaris is sending the energies through to Gaia, you're becoming that same thing for humanity as well as Gaia. So we're probably it's probably like feeling a lot like the sun.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, whoa, we just like got beamed through galactic center. You know, it's, I mean, this is right. This is the day for that. So
somebody asked a question, we'll at least take one question. I don't usually do that because I can't see, but they asked, because you mentioned it a couple of times, what is the geographic region that the crystalline corridor occupies? Is it throughout the whole all of Gaia, or is it just in a certain area?
Well, the crystalline corridor, the reason why it's called the corridor is because it actually is where Lemuria smashed in to the Midwest and created North America. So it's like actually part of Lemuria. You can visit the article or the video. I talk about all the different states and stuff where that happened. But it's actually this whole area that's encoded from Lemurian times, which is our inner Earth tribe. You know, those folks. So it was like Shasta is one of the major nodes, Haleakala, coming down into Sedona, Joshua Tree, going over into Anaheim, LA area, and then it reaches across into Arkansas. So it's like opening up the whole like western half of the United States. It goes up into Canada, it goes down into Mexico. It's a huge area, but it's actually the remnants of Lemurian codes. So it's
no wonder I traveled most of that area.
yeah, all of us just like woo, consistently doing the loop.
Now you're before we get out of here, I want to make sure that you've got SandraWalter.com, right? Let's see.
Yep, that's me.
Right here. Now I know you do events and I know you do the videos. Do you still work with people in groups or individually? Do you do any of that?
I still do live events and gatherings and personal sessions and all of that. I can't do them this month because I'm traveling, but that'll start up again in September.
Yeah. So. Very cool.
Best thing to do is just sign up, you know, that little get weekly updates thing. That's where just stick in your email and you'll get all the Light Tribe updates.
Oh yeah, right here. Join the tribe now. We'll just go ahead and join here.
Oh, thank you.
Another one.
And you get a free ebook. See, look at that. Bam.
Right on. There you go. Crystalline DNA. Thank you for subscribing. Yeah, right on. Very cool.
That's nice.
Yeah, and you're on Instagram and then of course Facebook.
Hitting the Instagram a lot lately. I don't know. I got bored with Facebook. So I started paying attention to Instagram and found like a whole different section of the tribe that was on there. And having more fun on that lately than.
I've heard some good things about it. I've heard some really good things about it from a few different people. So, well, maybe we'll see you. You're going to be in Sedona. You never know what's going to happen.
I know. It's just wide open.
Yeah, I enjoyed it last year. I was there for about 6 weeks. It was a big part of, I thought I was going to end up there based on what I was receiving. And I had 6 weeks of that's like a interdimensional superhighway there.
Yeah.
It's every day was something different, but then I got called here. But it was a very, very important part of my journey. And I really enjoyed it. I really did. I like this place a little better because there's no snakes and it's nice weather.
No tarantulas?
Yeah, there's a few spiders, but I was amazed. I got over here and I thought, how can it be this tropical? And all you have is chickens and roosters and, they got wild pigs. They got a few goats. And I'm like, this is just like, you can't beat this.
Yeah.
But the island has other ways of getting your attention. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, for sure. I've been there a couple times.
Yeah, we went through a few weeks of initiation and it was intense, but you know what? It's been very good to us and we're happy to have done some work here. And if it wants us to stay, we'll stay. And if we need to go, we'll go. So,
wonderful.
But I've always felt like we'd go back to Sedona and I think it's a powerful place. There's a lot of good people there, a lot of really good people that are awake and that have been waiting for this time, Really.
Exactly.
Well, I appreciate you spending time with us. Thank you so much. Thank you for the work you're doing. I'd love to collaborate with you in the future. If there's anything we can help you with to expand awareness of anything you're doing, just send Morgan or I a note and we'll be glad to help you in any way that we can. We're all on the same path.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing the way and continuing to show the way.
Oh, thank you so much, brother. I'm so glad that we got to connect. I owed you one.
No, you didn't. I'm not. TL told me what you said. I said, I know exactly how she feels. I've got 700 people that I've said, I'll get back with you.
I know.
And tomorrow there'll be 800. So I totally get that.
Well, be very patient with each other.
Yeah, it's like, it takes everything I got to do what I do. And it may not look like a lot to some people and it doesn't really matter to me, but every one of these, I'm blessed. It's the best job in the world. It's like a session. I literally, I'll get off one, go lay down, get up and do another one because it's just massive code exchange, massive presence in this vortex that everybody creates in the audience and with the guests and myself. And yeah, it's a mirror of what's happening to all of us. So, but you take care. All blessings to you and yours, and I hope to see you soon.
Oh, thank you so much, brother. Love you. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. I'll get you this MP4 real quick, okay?
Right on.